The black cleaning lady rushed the millionaire's daughter to the hospital, blood dripping onto the Italian marble as the 5-year-old girl convulsed in Monica's arms. The $20 million New York mansion had never witnessed such chaos. "Call an ambulance, now!" Monica Carter screamed, her voice echoing through the grand halls of the Anderson estate. But there was no time. Little Sophia Anderson was turning purple, every second a fight for her life. Monica, 41, had been working as a housekeeper in that home for just 4 months. A single mother of 2, she never imagined that the first aid skills she learned when her own son nearly died of asthma would become the reason she might save the richest man in town's daughter. Without hesitation, Monica picked Sophia up and bolted to her rusty old Ford, parked behind the mansion. The contrast was brutal. A black woman from the Bronx, driving the golden-haired heir of a billionaire construction mogul. At the hospital, doctors rushed to receive the child, while Monica, her uniform stained with blood, shouted vital information. She had a seizure. 3 minutes. She was conscious before she passed out. Outside the emergency room, Monica trembled. She had broken every house rule, left her post, used her own car, and touched her boss's child without permission. Normally, this would mean instant dismissal. What Monica didn't know was that Richard Anderson, CEO of Anderson Constructions, was in a high-stakes board meeting when the hospital called. For the first time in 12 years, he canceled everything and rushed to his daughter's side. When Richard arrived, he saw Monica sitting in a plastic chair, hands shaking, eyes red from tears. A woman who had risked everything for a child not her own. Something inside him cracked. Gratitude mixed with confusion and a flicker of guilt he couldn't explain. But Monica carried a secret, one she had hidden for years. A secret that would make her sacrifice far more meaningful and her revenge far more dangerous. 3 hours later, Sophia finally stabilized in the pediatric ICU. Monica was still in the hallway when Richard approached, his $5,000 suit wrinkled, face pale. "You saved my daughter," he whispered, voice breaking. "How can I ever thank you?" Monica stood, her hands clenched. "Just make sure she's going to be okay, Mr. Anderson." What Richard didn't know was that Monica had lost her own son, Caleb, at just 7 years old, not to a seizure, but to a healthcare system that turned him away 3 times before finally admitting him. Too late. The cruel irony of saving a billionaire's daughter when she couldn't save her own boy burned inside her like fire. 2 days later, Richard's wife returned from Europe. Catherine Anderson, tall, elegant, with icy blue eyes, walked into the mansion and listened to the story. "You left our daughter in the hands of the help?" she spat during dinner, her voice dripping with contempt. "Richard, have you lost your mind?" Monica, cleaning in the next room, froze as Catherine continued. "These people always have an agenda. Don't think for a second she isn't planning to take advantage of this situation." "Have you seen how she looks at our things?" Richard tried to defend Monica, but Catherine's words stuck like poison. Monica lowered her eyes, but inside, a storm was building. She had lost Caleb because people like the Andersons lived in a world where poor children were disposable. And now, they dared to accuse her of greed. What Catherine didn't know was that Monica wasn't just a housekeeper. She held a nursing degree, specialized in pediatrics. She had been fired from 3 hospitals, not for incompetence, but for questioning discriminatory protocols that prioritized wealthy patients over poor ones. The same system that killed Caleb. And now, by cruel twist of fate, she found herself cleaning the marble floors of the very family profiting from it. 4 days after the incident, Catherine summoned Monica to the grand living room. Sitting in her Italian leather armchair, surrounded by socialite friends, she smiled with venom. "Monica, dear, we are so grateful for what you did for Sophia. Truly. But some people are saying you're taking advantage, asking for favors." Monica stood tall, her voice steady. "I haven't asked for a single thing, Mrs. Anderson." "Of course not. But you understand our concern, don't you? Sometimes people in your position misunderstand what they deserve." But dangerous gleam flashed in Monica's eyes. She wasn't broken. She was calculating. Because for years, Monica had been collecting evidence, documents, recordings, hospital reports, proof of how the healthcare system valued children like Sophia while abandoning kids like Caleb. Now, Catherine had given her the fuel she needed to burn their empire down. That night, while cleaning Richard's office, Monica found contracts with public hospitals, multi-million-dollar deals where Anderson Construction promised modern equipment but delivered second-rate machines. Meanwhile, private hospitals received the best technology. Suddenly, everything made sense. Caleb hadn't just died because of neglect. He had died because families like the Andersons made millions off cheap, defective medical equipment. The same family whose daughter she had saved had indirectly killed her son. Within days, Monica found allies. First was Dr. Marcus Reed, the pediatrician who treated Sophia. He met Monica at a small cafe, pushing a folder toward her. "I know who you are," he said. "I checked. You're a registered nurse, fired for speaking up, and I believe you." Inside the folder were reports of children, mostly Black and Hispanic, who had died in the last 5 years due to faulty hospital equipment supplied by Anderson Construction. "They call it behavioral problems," Marcus said bitterly. "But the truth? You asked why rich kids got VIP care while poor kids died." The second ally was James Lee, a private investigator specializing in corporate fraud. He had been monitoring Anderson Construction for months. "We need someone on the inside," James said, handing her a device. "Plug this into Richard's computer. 5 minutes is all we need." Monica smirked. "I clean that office every night. I'll give you hours." What neither man knew was that Monica already had something more powerful. Richard never changed his passwords. For weeks, Monica had copied hours of internal security footage. Catherine making remarks, Richard discussing fraudulent deals, even board members laughing about disposable patients. Then she found the smoking gun, a memo signed by Richard himself, authorizing defective ventilators to be sent to public hospitals serving non-priority populations. The date? 2 months after Caleb's death. Her hands trembled as she read it. Richard Anderson hadn't just been complicit. He had built an empire on the graves of children like her son. For 2 weeks, Monica played the perfect maid by day and investigator by night. She compiled evidence into a 50-slide presentation titled, "The Anderson Medical Genocide: How Wealth Killed Our Children." It contained documents, contracts, recordings, and footage that no lawyer in America could bury. But she wasn't just planning to expose them. She was planning to end them. Tuesday morning, Catherine sipped $20 coffee while flipping through Forbes, where Richard was named Entrepreneur of the Year. "Darling," she said, "we need to schedule that charity dinner for the Children's Hospital. Optics matter." Richard chuckled, adjusting his silk tie. "Of course, especially after last week's $3 million contract." Monica, dusting silently nearby, smiled to herself. They had no idea. At exactly 3 p.m. that day, everything would collapse. 2:45 p.m. Richard sat in a hospital board meeting pushing for cost-effective equipment deals. At 3 o'clock sharp, every phone in the room buzzed. CNN's headline flashed, "Leaked documents expose billionaire's medical fraud. Hundreds of child deaths linked to Anderson Construction." On live television, footage played of Catherine sneering. "These people don't know their place. Richard's too soft on that maid. In my day, someone like her wouldn't even touch our daughter." The room went silent. Within hours, the FBI raided Anderson Construction. Richard was charged with fraud, corruption, and manslaughter. Catherine's face plastered every news channel, her racist rants trending worldwide. At a press conference, Dr. Marcus Reed stood beside grieving parents. Holding Caleb's picture, he said, "This boy died because a ventilator alarm didn't work. That ventilator came from Anderson Construction. His mother works as a cleaner in their home. Today, thanks to her courage, the truth is revealed." The camera zoomed in on Monica. She looked directly into the lens, her voice calm but piercing. "My son Caleb was 7. He died because of greed. For 3 years, I scrubbed the floors of the people who profited from his death. Today, this is not revenge. This is justice. By evening, Richard was in federal custody. Catherine was shunned by her socialite friends. Sophia, innocent and unaware, cried as classmates whispered about her family's disgrace. And Monica? She walked out of the mansion for the last time, head held high, clutching Caleb's photo. For the first time since his death, she felt peace. Because sometimes justice doesn't come in courtrooms. Sometimes it comes from a mother who refuses to stay silent. This story reminds us that love, sacrifice, and justice are stronger than money or power. A single mother's courage can topple empires, and one act of bravery can change history.